Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
What's going on, Mets fans? And I'm going to start this video with a statement that's going to upset some people, but it needs to be said. The casino gets approved, and suddenly the Mets get worse. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not me making stuff up. That's an observable fact. And we need to talk about whether that's just a coincidence or whether there's something much more troubling happening here. Hit that like button if the timing of all this has been bothering you too. And stick around because I'm going to connect the dots in a way that should make every Mets fan seriously question what's really going on with this organization. Let me lay out the timeline one more time because I want everyone to see exactly how this has played out. Steve Cohen gets approval for his $8 billion Metropolitan Park Casino project. That approval comes through after years of lobbying, political maneuvering, and building goodwill in the community. It's a massive win for Cohen. It's the biggest business deal of his life. It's going to generate more revenue than the Mets could ever dream of generating. And the approval happens in late 2025. Now, what happens with the Mets immediately after that casino approval? The organization falls apart. Pete Alonso walks to Baltimore without the Mets even making him an offer. Edwin Diaz signs with the Dodgers over a $3 million gap that Steve Cohen could pay with the interest he earns in about an hour. Brandon Nimmo gets traded for an aging Marcus Semien. The roster gets objectively worse across the board, and David Stearns is allowed to operate with zero oversight, making small market decisions with big market resources. You're telling me that's just a coincidence? The exact moment Steve Cohen gets his casino approved, the exact moment he achieves his primary business objective in New York, is the exact moment the Mets stop being a priority? Come on. We're not idiots. The correlation is impossible to ignore. Let's talk about what that casino approval actually means for Steve Cohen. For years, he's been working on this project, meeting with politicians, dealing with community groups, navigating bureaucracy, competing with other casino proposals. It's been a massive undertaking that required his full attention and commitment. And throughout that entire process, owning the Mets helped him. It gave him credibility. It showed he was invested in Queens. It made him a sympathetic public figure instead of just another billionaire trying to build a casino. But now that the casino is approved, now that he's got what he wanted, what value does the Mets' success have for him? If the team wins a World Series, that's great for his ego and his legacy, but it doesn't materially impact his business interests anymore. The casino is happening regardless of whether the Mets are good or bad. So where's the incentive for Cohen to stay hyper-focused on building a championship baseball team? And I think that's exactly what we're seeing play out. Cohen got his casino approved, and suddenly his level of engagement with the Mets dropped off a cliff. He's not in David Stern's office demanding answers about why Pete Alonso walked. He's not pushing the front office to be more aggressive. He's not holding anyone accountable for the roster getting worse. He's just signing the checks and letting Stearns do whatever he wants while Cohen focuses on his casino empire. Let me give you another piece of evidence that this isn't just coincidence. Look at the contrast between Cohen's involvement in getting the casino approved versus his involvement in the Mets baseball operations. With the casino, Cohen was hands-on. He was making calls. He was building relationships. He was doing whatever it took to get that deal done. But with the Mets this offseason, he's been completely absent. He hasn't made public statements about the direction of the team. He hasn't explained the strategy. He's just been ghost. That tells you everything about where his priorities are. When something matters to Steve Cohen, he's engaged. He's active. He makes things happen. And when something doesn't matter as much, he delegates and moves on. The casino mattered. The casino got his full attention and commitment. The Mets? Not so much, at least not anymore now that the casino is secured. Here's another thing to consider. The entire Metropolitan Park Casino project is built around the Mets location. It's in Citi Field's parking lot. It's using the Mets infrastructure and fan base as part of its appeal. The casino is literally leveraging the baseball team's existence to be successful. So Cohen needed the Mets to be relevant and popular while he was getting the casino approved. He needed the goodwill that comes with owning a beloved sports franchise. But now that the casino is approved, now that the location is secured, Does he still need the Mets to be good? The casino is going to draw crowds whether the Mets win 75 games or 95 games. People are going to gamble there regardless of how the baseball team performs. So from a pure business calculation, Cohen has already extracted the maximum value from the Mets in terms of helping his casino project. Making the baseball team better at this point is just an expense with no corresponding business benefit. Now, I know that sounds incredibly cynical, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Steve Cohen genuinely loves the Mets and wants to win championships, and all of this is just terrible timing. But you know what? The evidence doesn't support that interpretation. The evidence supports the interpretation that Cohen got what he wanted from the Mets, which was help in getting his casino approved, and now the team is no longer the priority it once was. Let's also talk about what Cohen is saying publicly versus what's actually happening. After last season's collapse, Cohen apologized to the fans. He said the team would be aggressive this offseason. He set expectations that the Mets would improve. But then what happened? Nothing. The team got worse. The promises were empty. And Cohen has been completely silent while it's all fallen apart. Why would Cohen make those promises if he didn't intend to follow through? Maybe because at the time he was still working on getting his casino approved. He still needed the fan base on his side. He still needed to maintain the appearance of being a committed, championship-focused owner. But once that casino got approved, once he had what he really wanted, following through on those promises became less important. Here's what really bothers me about all of this. Mets fans have been through decades of disappointment, decades of cheap ownership, decades of broken promises. And when Steve Cohen bought the team, it felt like things were finally going to be different. Like finally, the Mets had an owner who would do whatever it takes to win. And for a couple of years, that seemed true. But now we're right back where we started. We have an owner whose primary focus is something other than the baseball team. For the Wilpons, it was their financial services business and trying to recover from the Madoff scandal. For Cohen, it's his $8 billion casino empire. Either way, the Mets are not the top priority. And when the Mets aren't the top priority for ownership, the team suffers. And you know what the sad part is? The casino approval basically guarantees that this is how it's going to be for the foreseeable future. Building and opening that casino is going to require years of Cohen's attention. Operations, management, dealing with regulatory issues, competing with other casinos in the region, all of it. Cohen is going to be consumed by that project for the next 5 to 10 years at least, which means the Mets are going to be run by David Stearns with minimal oversight for the foreseeable future. And we've already seen what that looks like. It looks like small market decision-making with big market resources. It looks like letting star players walk. It looks like the roster getting worse instead of better. That's the reality Mets fans are facing. So here's the question. What do we do about it? How do fans respond when it becomes clear that the owner's priority is his casino empire, not the baseball team? Do we just accept it and lower our expectations? Do we keep spending money on tickets and merchandise, knowing that the revenue isn't going to be reinvested in making the team better in meaningful ways? Or do we demand better and hold Cohen accountable for the promises he made when he bought this team? I don't have all the answers, but I do know that the timing of the casino approval and the Mets' immediate decline is not coincidental. I know that Steve Cohen has been conspicuously absent while his baseball team falls apart, and I know that his actions suggest the casino is his priority, and the Mets are an afterthought. Maybe next year will be different. Maybe Cohen will refocus on the baseball team once the initial casino construction is underway. Maybe David Stearns will suddenly figure out how to build a winner. But I'm not holding my breath. The pattern is clear. The priorities are clear. And unless something dramatic changes, the Mets are going to continue being secondary to Steve Cohen's much more lucrative casino ventures. So here's what I want from you in the comments. Do you think the timing of the casino approval and the Mets getting worse is just a coincidence? Or do you think there's a real connection there? Do you think Steve Cohen's priorities have shifted now that he got his casino deal done? Because from where I'm sitting, the evidence is overwhelming that the casino is what Cohen really cares about, and the Mets were just a tool to help him get it approved. Hit that subscribe button for more honest content. that connects the dots other people are afraid to connect. Drop your thoughts below about whether you think the casino approval is why the Mets are suddenly being neglected. And I'll see you in the next video where we continue demanding accountability from an ownership group that promised us championships but seems more interested in building gambling empires.